Hey, welcome back to the live stream here at Wesleyan General Conference 2016. We are joined now by John Lyon, the President and CEO of World Hope International. Now, if some of you are watching right now and you don't know what World Hope is involved in, oh my goodness, so many things. Education, agriculture, rural and economic development, clean water and sanitation, emergency relief, child sponsorship, health and nutrition, anti-trafficking, gender-based violence. John, how does one person oversee such an amazing ministry where you guys are making an impact all over the world?
Well, you hire good people. We're only as good as the people we hire, and God's blessed us with great people to work with. So I couldn't do it on my own for sure.
So talk about, just a while ago, we just finished up with an interview with Matt Leroy and Jeremy Summers, and you and Matt got into a conversation and kind of excited about a program that you guys are doing. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. We have great relationships with colleges and universities around the country. Three offhand that we're working with right now is Houghton College. Houghton College has 10 students in Sierra Leone right now.
Wow.
Studying how smallholders navigate land tenure systems to grow more food for livelihoods or for their own food security. We're also partnering with Yale University on a project to provide schools in Haiti with off-grid electricity.
Wow.
And we got a partnership with Penn State University where they're studying their field testing laboratory products that they've been testing. One of which is to provide a pack of micronutrient into a beef bouillon cube to help people who live way out in the middle of nowhere with a ready way to get micronutrients. They're also helping us on a project to develop a mobile app where we can record medical records for our physical therapy program called Enable the Children. And they're working with us on a project to introduce low-cost greenhouses to smallholder farmers in Mozambique and Sierra Leone.
Wow.
And finally, we're partnering with them on a project to test out a low-cost diabetes test device that will allow people to allow us to test millions of people with diabetes.
Wow.
Wow.
So,
John, that's amazing. I was just in Haiti, and the one thing they do have is sun. So when you talked about a solar panel initiative, how do you come up with these things? How do you make those connections? How did this one come about?
The Yale connection, I bumped into a guy on the metro in Washington, D.C., and he told me what we're doing, and I told him what I'm doing. He's like, oh, we should get together and make a partnership. It's that simple.
Wow.
One of those God-appointed moments where paths cross.
Oh, my God.
You know, one of the things that we've heard since we've been here at the General Conference is they talked about, we had a video talked about slavery around the world, and that actually we here in the United States, we don't get this or grasp it at times. It's kind of hard for us to comprehend, but there are more slaves now than at any other point in human history. And I would have to think that this whole thing of human trafficking, it flows right in. Maybe I talk about that a little bit and how World Hope is trying to make an impact and a difference there.
Mm-hmm. Well, this program really sprung from Joanne Lyon, my mother's passion for this subject. So about 10 years ago, Cambodia had a horrible problem with human trafficking.
Right.
I mean, it was open and notorious. I mean, children were being trafficked into brothels and being openly sold on the streets. So we were partnering with organizations that were doing rescue work in these brothels, but Mom's vision was, well, what happens when after they're rescued? Where do they go? How do we ensure that they're not getting re-trafficked right back into the same brothels? So Mom came up with the concept of an assessment center, and that's the name that it got called. We were able to get State Department funding to get it kicked off, and what that served as was the first emergency room aftercare for kids that came out of these brothels.
Wow.
And then we would provide mental health care, physical, medical care. This would serve as a place to stabilize the children. Also gather evidence so that we could produce a court case against the perpetrators down the road.
Yeah.
Wow.
We'd reintegrate them back into a safe home or reintegrate them into a longer term shelter if they need a longer term care. That was our first program in trafficking, and that's now sprung out to where we have one similar program in Sierra Leone.
Wow.
We're also implementing a human trafficking hotline in Liberia in partnership with the government,
right,
so that if some people identify human trafficking activity, they can actually call this hotline and bring in authorities. And we're exploring a similar a shelter program for the Philippines right now as well.
Wow. One of the things that World Hope is known for is providing clean water through digging wells. I know churches partner with you guys and dig wells, and they have put together a great video to kind of tell you all about this effort that World Hope's doing.
We used to have one well, which was helping, but then it gets dry during the dry season.
Well, before the water well was given to us, the situation was very, very bad. The children had to walk for a mile to get water.
And we have over 2,000 children in the school. When it used to be just one single well that also serves us well, by the time we come, all the water becomes dirty.
And even when they come with the water was not safe.
Now, that problem has been solved. Now the children don't have to go down the stream or around the neighborhood to scout for water. We are now having water throughout the season.
Well, the change is very great. The change is wonderful.
Of course, it's very much helpful, especially at this time of the Ebola crisis, when hand washing is very much necessary for us.
And the most important thing, the water is really safe. I drink it. All the staff drink it. We have never experienced cholera, no sickness.
We know what is water. Water is life. And so, if we can get water throughout, especially this one, which is much more safe for drinking, then it's good for us to be celebrating.
Thank you, World Hope International.
So, John, everything we saw in that video would not have been possible without local churches. So I know you wanted to say a thanks to some of the churches that partner with you guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thank you. I'll say it in Creole, too, in Sierra Leone. Tinky.
John, I want to say we receive your thanks. Eastern Hills is one of the churches that has partnered extensively with World Hope. Mm-hmm. But I want to thank you for providing the opportunity, because our people who've gone on mission projects or humanitarian projects with World Hope have come home changed. They've come home with a new passion and a new fire to serve, and it's just broadened them and increased their, just their spiritual experience. So as you're thanking us, we're thanking you for allowing us the joy and the privilege of partnering. We've done some well projects and some school things and just a number of things. I'm thinking of the partnership between Eastern Hills. So thanks to World Hope for allowing us to participate.
Okay, no, yeah, we're here to serve the Wesleyan Church. We were created to be the Wesleyan Church's humanitarian relief and development arm partner of the Wesleyan Church, and I'm just here to try and make you guys proud.
Yeah. So during the whole Ebola breakout, World Hope certainly had a presence in that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, World Hope was one of the leading responders on the Ebola outbreak between 2014 and 2015. We were highly active in Sierra Leone, but also in Liberia. And I can say thanks to the church. The church raised, the Wesleyan Church in North America raised about $500,000 for Ebola.
That is incredible. Wow. Yeah.
World Hope was able to leverage that $500,000 into over $7 million worth of grants and assistance to fight Ebola. And as a result, we were able to provide needed isolation beds for patients. Ebola was just out of control. People, because there wasn't hospital beds to isolate people, to hold them hold them in an isolated way so they weren't spreading around. So Carrie Jo Kane from the Iowa-Minnesota district flew out and helped partner with led a partnership between us and UNICEF to scale a community care center program where we were setting up pup tents with isolation beds in a safe and controlled way. UNICEF replicated that model across the country.
How about that?
We ran a third of those. And at the time I was thinking, this is really bad. We got to work hard. But you don't know the results of your hard work. Well, the London School of Tropical Medicine just came out with a study about a few months ago that said because NGOs like World Hope were able to come up with the isolation beds when we did, we saved over 40,000 lives in Sierra Leone alone.
How about that?
Oh, praise God.
Yeah.
That is so good.
And a lot of people may not know this watching at home. When you see the news and you see something like a typhoon, tsunami, hurricanes, tornadoes, Ebola, World Hope so many times is on the front lines of that and is that Wesleyan arm. Talk a little bit about, because I know one thing I love is World Hope, they have so many different ways for people to give. And every time we have the emergency relief fund that helps out with World Hope.
I was thinking the same thing. It's a quick way for us to be able to partner with you, right?
So what are some ways, like if a church saw that, if a pastor saw this well video and said, man, our church could do that. How can churches partner with you, not just financially? Kim talked about groups going. How can people get in contact with you to become a part of what the work World Hope's doing?
Well, they can contact me directly, or they can. There's our website has a number of ways in which you can, if a church is interested in one program or another, they can spot that. They can give toward that. Sometimes we're looking for volunteers for a particular thing. That could be another way to engage. We also have a thing called Hope Corps, where we're sending folks over to see the programs or volunteer. So that's another way to participate in is take a trip and see it. We're partnering with the Mountain Plains District on a large-scale program in Peru, where we're sending teams in up the Amazon River to drill water wells for communities and disciple those communities. And so there's a lot of different ways that people can engage. Yeah,
and the great thing, the World Hope website is set up where you can just make a general donation if you want to, but you can go on there and see, okay, if we want to rescue a child from sex trafficking, here's the investment we need to make. If you can buy a family a goat. Here's what it costs to do a well. And I absolutely just love that, because one of the things we talked about last Christmas, we didn't do it, is I grew up on a farm, and so we want to buy a goat for somebody overseas. I think that would be cool. We'd be remiss to talk to you and not talk to you about the influence of your parents. Talk a little bit. Tony said before the interview, she's Dr. Joanne Lyon to us, but to you, she was just mom. So what's it like kind of carrying on her legacy with World Hope?
It's actually been fun. I tell people I mean, a lot of people ask me that question. I tell people, like, World Hope actually is a great way for me to relate to my mom. In fact, maybe too much so. I don't know what we'd talk about if we didn't have World
Hope. You have a wonderful family legacy.
Yeah. And you told us just before, this is the 20th anniversary of World Hope International.
Yep.
So here's my challenge, okay? I'm not authorized to do this, but I will. What's the World Hope website?
www.worldhope.org.
Worldhope.org. You go there right now. And in honor of the 20th anniversary, I want you to give a $20 donation. When we get done with this interview, I'm getting on here, and let's see how many $20 donations we can make and help John Lyon make a difference in the world. John, anything else you want to say to our? We got approximately 7 billion people.
Okay.
We got a worldwide audience. Any other final thoughts on World Hope and what God's doing through it?
Well, just keep us in your prayers. We're trying to live out Matthew 25, and come along for the ride with us. We're doing this together. I'm just simply the CEO. That's it.
Right. So worldhope.org is where you can go to connect with John, connect your church. Like Kim said, Kim, just real briefly again, talk about the impact it had for your church.
People come back changed in ways that we could never do that at home. There's something about that experience. And the other thing that I wanted to say is the integrity with which World Hope, you can feel good about partnering with World Hope because they operate with such integrity. I know when we were building, coming alongside to build wells, not only were they building the well, but they were teaching the villagers how to maintain the well so that when they were gone, that well could still operate. And so it's, with integrity. And so...
And actually, on that point, we did a study. 2013, we had been at it for about 10 years on the water well program, and we decided, well, let's have a look. How are the wells doing 10 years out? And so we studied approximately half of the wells that were drilled between Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Mozambique, and we found that 91% of those are still operating 10 years out.
Wow.
A subset of those are still produced. We biologically lab tested a subset, a sample of those, and all of them were bottleable water, so still biologically clean. And they're still producing year-round water, which is another way we manage it. So it shows that communities are taking care of the asset that was given to them. The assets are still functioning the way they were intended, and they're taking care of people.
But that's because you empower them with that knowledge. The other thing I wanted to say is that sometimes when we think of World Hope, we're thinking dollars and big budget, but those dollars represent lives and real people and stories of transformation.
Right.
And so we can never forget that actually when you've met the actual person. I was at the Cambodia assessment center to see a young, and first of all, they were so young. I wasn't quite prepared for that. But they were so young. But to see those who were just coming in so traumatized, and then to see those who had been there who were beginning to laugh again and have a life again. So, it's not just dollars and cents, but it's transformed lives, and can't forget that.
It really, World Hope is a worthwhile investment. You're going to get more than you put in. And I'm challenging you now, worldhope.org. Let's see those $20 donations, and we want to see them. So you got to keep following. We're getting ready. In just a few minutes, we're going to start tonight's business session at 7 o'clock. Not sure exactly what memorials are going to be discussed. Just a little bit ago, I interviewed authors Matt Leroy and Jeremy Summers, the authors of the book Paradox, and we're going to be, this is a signed copy that we're going to be giving away. So here's how you can win this. Over the next 24 hours, if you'll use the hashtag Made New, but also the hashtag Paradox, Paradox, we're going to put everybody that tweets that out, put your names in a hat. Not a real hat, but you know what I mean. We're going to draw a name.
Virtual hat.
A virtual hat. And somebody's going to win this. and that'll be great. So we're looking forward to a great night. We'll have some worship. We'll have some inspiration. John, thank you so much again for the work that you do and for the inspiration you are for everybody in the Wesleyan Church. So stay tuned. It's west.life. Again, you can go to west.life/schedule to find out when we're doing all our interviews, what the schedule is here at the conference. Thank you so much. We saw that there have been over 7,000 views so far of the live stream. Thank you so much. So many people here. I haven't even told you guys. People have been coming up to me all day who are here, and they say, hey, I've been watching the live stream. When I go back to the hotel, I'm watching everything. So thank you so much. That's why we're doing this. So stay tuned. In just a few minutes, they'll be starting the worship service and tonight's business session. And then tune in about 9 o'clock. Come back right here for expert analysis of what just happened. So for Tony, Kim, and John Lyon and the whole team, I'm Heath, and we'll see you soon.